5 or 6 mock drafts. Maybe it was 12. The reason I'd never done a mock draft, and the reason I did it this year is because everybody was doing these mock drafts, and they were like one quarterback in the top 10 picks. And I'm like, timeout. You're going to have like 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the top 15 picks. Are you crazy? You got like 4 teams that don't have a quarterback. That's why I did these mock drafts. And as predicted, 4 teams traded up to get a quarterback. The Cleveland would have, but they had the number 1 pick. The 2018 draft had 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round, 4 in the top 10. I know mock drafts are stupid. That's why I kept doing mock drafts, telling you these mock draft people don't know what they're talking about. You're going to have quarterbacks littered through the top 10.
Where Colin was wrong.
And with that, I had been telling you for a year Sam Darnold was going to go number 1. I forgot the Cleveland factor. Listen, Baker Mayfield a year ago, I was told by somebody who I trust, he's not really a first-round talent. He's undersized, he's not overly athletic, and in Oklahoma's system, everybody looks great, which they do. But to Baker Mayfield's credit, he was cocky and outspoken and got a lot of headlines, and it just takes one person to fall in love with you. Tim Tebow went in the first round because Josh McDaniels bought into the sky above parts when Tim Tebow's the quarterback, and even though he's got a profoundly inept NFL throwing motion, it will work. It just takes one GM to love you. And John Dorsey fell in love with him. And by the way, according to a source I trust, Thursday, an NFL scout said Darnold wasn't even their number 2. Josh Allen was.
Where Colin was right?
John, how did the Greek Freak do in his first-round playoff series? The next LeBron, going to dominate the league.
Not great?
Yeah, he can't shoot threes, and he's not a great ball handler, so therefore he's not going to be the next LeBron. He could not beat 19-year-old Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and the injury-riddled Celtics, who, by the way, how vulnerable was Boston? No Gordon Hayward, no Kyrie Irving. Jaylen Brown missed the entire second half. And the next LeBron James couldn't beat that team. Giannis is a really, really talented young man and absurdly long and athletic. But it's 2018. If you can't shoot threes and you're not controlling the tempo as a ball handler, you're not going to be the next LeBron James.
Where Colin was wrong.
I didn't see Lamar Jackson as a first-round prospect. I mostly saw him as a second or a third-round project. Now, I don't think it's going to work out if they force him into active duty quickly. The good news is Joe Flacco never gets hurt. But I think he is a remarkable talent, most of it below the waist with his feet. I think he's an okay thrower. And the people I trust agree with me in this league. But you know what? Again, the 2 quarterbacks that were the most talked about were Baker Mayfield, who moved to number 1, and Lamar Jackson, who moved to the last pick in the first round. And there's something to be said about publicity, and there's something to be said about one guy falls in love with you. But I still don't see him. I think the first round is for prospects. I think the second, third, fourth, you can roll the dice a little on a project because you're not paying him as much. I hope he doesn't play his rookie year. I hope he learns fundamentally how to run an NFL offense. We'll see.
Where Colin was right?
Well, I said this. When Brad Stevens got Butler to Final Fours, 2 of them, I said we're looking at an all-time coach. And I picked Boston without Gordon Hayward and without Kyrie Irving and with a 19-year-old being a valuable piece, Jason Tatum. I picked him to beat Milwaukee. I honestly believe Brad Stevens is the best coach of the league, and that includes Greg Popovich. I think he is head and shoulders above virtually everybody in this sport. Butler now, by the way, is still a good program, but they can't win their conference since he left. You're looking at an all-timer here. This is our Sean McVay in football, Brad Stevens, and this is why I picked Boston to end up in this Eastern Conference Finals. Now, Philadelphia is going to be really challenging, but what he did against Milwaukee with no Jaylen Brown in the second half, a 19-year-old, no Kyrie, and no Gordon Hayward, it is all-time stuff. You're watching all-time stuff here.
Where Colin was wrong.
For 48 hours, I picked the Pacers to beat LeBron. I got bronnesia. And then I stopped taking meth, and I went back to picking LeBron. What was I thinking? Victor Oladipo's a nice player. He shot 41%. And in the end, LeBron dominated the games he had to. Game 2, Game 4, Game 5, and Game 7. When LeBron had to take a game over, he did. Now, I still don't think the league is beholden to him. I'm actually more excited to watch the Sixers Celtics than I am the Raptors and LeBron. But what he did is why he is the best player in the last 15 years.
Where Colin was right?
Finally, I've been on this, and people say from time to time, Colin, why do you just beat in the same topics? Because when I believe in something, I realize that even my most ardent listeners only listen once or twice a week. I've been on this now for several years. Wide receivers are icing. They're not the cake. They do not produce wins. They're not worth a point. The NFL execs are finally listening to me. Only 2 were taken in the first round, the fewest in 8 drafts. The first wide receiver was the 24th pick. That's the lowest in the decade. Listen, they simply don't win games. They just don't. They're fun and they're flashy. Odell Beckham Jr. has as much talent outside of maybe Antonio Brown as any wide receiver I've seen in years. The Giants have a losing record in his most productive games. Now, I do like Calvin Ridley, and I think he's going to be really productive for Atlanta, but I don't think they're going to win their division. Forget the NFC, despite having the best receiving core easily in that division. Steven Jackson's around the corner. Something came to me this weekend, and I'm not sure if you'll agree or not, but it's kind of a bummer if you like sports, and I think it's going to happen real soon. 66% of men lose their hair by the age of 35. That is discouraging. And once you start to notice it, it could be too late. Get on it. Easier to keep it than replace your hair. 4hims.com is a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and sexual wellness for dudes. It connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions. These are like well-known generic equivalents. Keep your hair. Okay, this is not like snake oil stuff. The stuff you see at gas stations, those supplements. No waiting room, no awkward doctor visits. Order now. Trial month for $5. Go to the website right now. FORHIMS. 4hims.com/Colin. 4hims.com/Colin. 66% of men lose their hair by age 35. Did they go out there and just count? Like they were just taken like in a parking lot at Safeway. They're like, that's 66% of you guys. I love that study. It's the herd.
Two friends face off.
Jose, I'm sorry, but this is my dream.
The Ultimate Fighter undefeated. All